You're not poor because you don't work hard. You're poor because you're operating inside a system designed by people like John D. Rockefeller, where working harder makes them richer, not you. Most people are chasing income, but they never stop to ask who designed the system they're chasing it in. This is the Sovereign Architect, where we break down power, money, and structure. Stop chasing, start constructing. The lie you were taught. From childhood, the formula was simple. Go to school, get a job, work hard, save money, retire. It sounds logical, it feels safe, and that's exactly why it works. Not for you, but for the system. Because if you follow that path perfectly, you become predictable. You wake up at the same time, you work the same hours, you spend in the same places, you repeat the same cycle. You're not being optimized for wealth, you're being optimized for reliability. Reliable worker, reliable consumer, reliable taxpayer. That's the real design. Now pause and think about this. If working hard alone created wealth, then the hardest working people would be the richest. But they're not. Construction workers, nurses, factory employees, they work long hours, they create real value, yet they remain financially constrained. So clearly, effort is not the variable that determines wealth. Position is. And this is where people like John D. Rockefeller separated themselves. He didn't just build a business, he built infrastructure. While others were competing, trying to sell more, produce more, work harder, he stepped back and asked a different question. Not, how do I make more money, but where does the money flow and how do I control that path? That's a completely different game. Let's make this real. Imagine a small town with 10 water vendors. They're all competing. Better prices, better service, more effort. Now imagine one person doesn't compete at all. Instead, they buy the only pipeline that supplies water to the entire town. Now every vendor depends on them. Every transaction passes through them. They don't need to be the best, they just need to be in position. That's what Rockefeller understood, and that's what most people never see. Back to your life. You think you're earning money, but look closer. Every dollar you make flows through systems you don't control. Your paycheck? Controlled by your employer. Your savings? Controlled by a bank. Your expenses flow into. Even your opportunities are often decided by platforms and gatekeepers. So no matter how hard you work, you're always operating inside someone else's structure. And here's the part nobody tells you. The system doesn't need you to fail. It just needs you to stay consistent. Because consistency at your level feeds stability at theirs. That's why the path feels safe. That's why it feels normal. That's why almost everyone follows it. But the moment you see it clearly, you can't unsee it. Because now the question changes. It's no longer, how do I work harder to earn more? Now it becomes, why am I positioned in a system where my effort has a ceiling? And more importantly, who designed that ceiling? That question is where everything begins to shift. Let's make this simple. Imagine two people. Person A works 9 to 5, gets paid hourly, saves a small percentage. Person B owns the company, doesn't trade time for money, gets paid from systems. Same economy, different outcomes. Why? Because one is inside the system and one owns it. Think about your daily life for a second. You wake up, commute, work, get paid, spend, sleep, repeat. Now, let's zoom in. Every step has a system owner controlling some part of your value. Your job, employer, your bank, financial institution, your rent, property owner, your purchases, corporations, and every dollar you touch flows through systems you don't control. Here's a visual for your mind. Picture a network of pipelines. You pour your effort into the system at one end, and by the time it reaches you, a little has been siphoned off at every step. Small cuts, consistent, invisible. And because you're plugged in, you don't even notice. Now let's make it relatable. You get your paycheck. Taxes take a chunk, federal, state. Bank fees take a chunk, account fees, interest, overdrafts. Bills take a chunk, rent, utilities, credit cards, daily spending, coffee, groceries, subscriptions. By the time it's done, how much is left? Not nearly enough to build real wealth. But notice this. Every layer that takes a cut is controlled by someone else. You are trapped in the middle. Here's the subtle trap most people miss. You think you're in control because you can choose your job, but the system designs how much freedom you really have. Try skipping a payment, miss a deadline, stop working for a month. The system reacts, it extracts, it punishes. You're not lazy, you're positioned. Let's compare it again. Person A trades 40 hours per week for a paycheck. Person B designs a system that works while they sleep. Person A thinks, how can I earn more per hour? Person B thinks, where can I place leverage so money flows to me automatically? See the difference? It's not magic, it's position inside systems. And here's the critical insight. Most people stay stuck not because they're incapable, but because they never analyze the pipeline their life is flowing through. Once you see it, you start asking different questions. Which systems am I plugged into? Who controls the flow? How much of my effort actually benefits me versus someone else? These questions alone change perspective because wealth is not just income. Wealth is control of the flow. And right now, most people have very little control. Rockefeller's real move. Most people think Rockefeller got rich from oil. That's surface-level thinking. Oil was just the entry point, a tool, not the strategy. Here's the real insight. Rockefeller's wealth didn't come from selling oil. It came from owning the entire flow of oil. Think about it. He controlled production, who drills, who extracts, transportation, who ships it, refinement, who processes it into usable products, distribution, who sells it to consumers. Every stage, every dollar, every decision. Instead of making money once, he made money at every stage. Let's put this into a simple analogy. Imagine a coffee shop. Beans come from a farmer, cost $1. Roaster processes beans, charges $2. Transport company delivers, charges $1. Coffee shop sells a cup, charges $5. Now, if you own only the coffee shop, your profit is small. But if you own the farm, the roaster, the trucks, and the shop, you capture every dollar of value in the chain. This is vertical integration. Rockefeller did this, but on a massive scale. Now, fast forward to today, we don't call it oil anymore. Modern Rockefeller moves happen in tech platforms, control the marketplace, payment systems, control the flow of transactions, marketplaces and logistics, control distribution. Example, you start an online business. You think, I'm the owner. I control this. But look deeper. Platform takes a fee, 5 to 15% per sale. Payment processor takes a cut, 2 to 3%. Ad platform charges for visibility, $10 per click. Shipping company controls delivery, $5 per shipment. By the time the product reaches the customer, you're just one layer in a stack of systems. Here's the catch most people miss.
You can grow your revenue, but without controlling the flow, your growth mostly benefits the systems above you. Think about it. Every platform, every processor, every delivery service takes a piece of value at every transaction. That's modern-day Rockefeller strategy. Not owning one asset, owning all leverage points.
Let's make it visual. Imagine a stack of transparent layers. Top layer, platform. Second layer, payment processor. Third layer, logistics. Fourth layer, ad network. Bottom layer, you. You're trying to make profit at the bottom. Everything above you takes a slice. Without owning these layers, your influence and wealth is limited. Now here's the insight that separates architects from participants. You can either keep building within someone else's stack, small gains controlled by others, or start owning the layers themselves, system-level wealth. Rockefeller built the layers. Modern tech giants continue the same principle. The lesson? It's never about working harder. It's about positioning yourself to control multiple points in the value chain. And once you see it, the game looks completely different. Mindset engineering. Wealthy thinking is not about working harder. It's about thinking in layers. Most people never see beyond the first layer. How do I earn more money? How can I get a raise? Should I save a little more this month? This is the average mindset, focused on effort and immediate returns. Now, contrast that with the architect mindset. Where does money flow and how do I position myself there? Which systems can generate income without my constant presence? What leverage points can I own? The difference is subtle but life-changing. Let's make it practical. Imagine a man named Tom. Tom works 9 to 5. He saves $200 per month. He invests in low-interest accounts. Every year, he's proud when he has $2,400 saved. Meanwhile, Sarah, she starts a small software tool. She automates delivery. She licenses it to multiple companies. She may not work harder than Tom, but because she owns the system, she earns continuously while Tom trades hours for dollars. This is time decoupled from income. Here's another layer. Most people avoid risk. They think, if I do something different, I might fail. Architects see risk differently. They calculate leverage. They find points where small effort controls large outcomes. They ask, where can I design a system that multiplies my influence? It's not gambling. It's strategic positioning. Time is the ultimate variable. Average thinking, you spend it. Wake up, commute, work, pay bills, sleep, repeat. Architect thinking, you design systems that multiply time. Build once, earn continuously. Train people, automate processes, own platforms. The math is simple. 1 hour equals $1, linear income. One system equals infinite dollars, asynchronous income. Here's a powerful reflection. Ask yourself, are you spending your life moving inside someone else's design? Or are you engineering flows that work while you sleep? Most people don't even realize the first question exists. They think effort equals wealth. They chase raises, promotions, side hustles. Yet the system caps them layer by layer. Architects play a different game. They focus on ownership of influence, not ownership of hours. They build assets that generate value independently of effort. They constantly ask, which layer can I control next? Let's take a concrete example you can relate to. You sell products online. Average person focuses on sales per day, margin per item. Architect focuses on owning the platform, logistics, and payment processing.
Which position will create real system-level wealth? It's not the one making more sales, it's the one controlling the flows. And here's the psychological shift. Average mindset, survival-focused. Architect mindset, control-focused. Average reacts to opportunities. Architect creates opportunities by manipulating the system. Time is no longer your enemy, it's your multiplier. The takeaway? Wealthy thinking isn't about working harder, saving more, or avoiding risks. It's about understanding the layers of influence in every system, positioning yourself to own critical points in those layers, using time and leverage to create income that multiplies. This is the core difference between survival and sovereignty. One mindset keeps you trapped. The other frees you to design reality, and that's what separates the architect from the participant.
So now you see it. Not a conspiracy, a structure, a system that rewards ownership and extracts from participation. The question is no longer, why am I not wealthy? The real question is, why am I still choosing to stay inside systems I don't control? Because at the end of this, there are only two roles left: architect or debris. Choose carefully.